Hey, what's up guys, Joe Elements here once again, and today we are talking about the new firmware release by Red for the Red Komodo 6K. This is the 1.5.0 beta, and this firmware actually features the anamorphic mode on this camera. So before we dive in, let's have a look at the website because there are quite a lot of new changes to this particular build. And if we quickly dive into the Komodo firmware update, you realize that you've got the regular firmware and then you've got the beta. So you want to select the beta mode to pick up the latest firmware. So on here, it's released on the 26th of March, and this is today. So if we quickly go to new changes, we have where it says added 6K anamorphic R3D support, and this requires the Red Cine X Pro version 52.3 or later. So specifically it says R3D support. So this means that the anamorphic mode only works in RAW. It does not work in ProRes. Fingers crossed, hopefully they'll bring that out for ProRes, but currently only works in 6K RAW. And they've also added the 6K 2.1 format, which again refers to the anamorphic mode. Another significant changes that they've done with this build is added a live stream tool, and then also magnifying support. So I suppose the live stream tool speaks for itself. It allows us to do live streaming. Currently, there's nothing on Red's website concerning it, how to operate it or how it works. However, I'll have a look into it and see if I could figure it out. If I do, I'll do a separate video in regards to the live stream. Also, the magnifying support, meaning now we can actually punch in and focus and reframe our shot on the Red Komodo, which is something that's widely available on many cameras. Then on thirdly, they've added 4-channel audio support, and then also Wi-Fi scan support. And then finally, not the least, they've also added very important Canon RF lens ring control. So now you can actually control your Canon RF lenses with the ring. Previous build firmware didn't have that support. And then also, just before I leave it there is a Prism viewfinder mode. So this Prism viewfinder mode means it allows you to flip the image upside down and backwards if required. So there are quite a lot of new releases, but those are the key ones that I think is very important to most of us that we want to check out. Just before I actually close with this page, it did say that note magnify over live stream and LCD in 2, 4 or 5K causes the live stream to freeze. So you need to restart the camera to re-enable it. So it tells us that there is a little bit of bug there, and I'm pretty sure once the version 1.5 removes from beta mode, we'll be able to have a fully functional firmware. So whilst we're going to boot it on, I have installed the new firmware build already, and let's see how that boots up. The speed is still the same, but one thing you notice right there and then here, it says warning beta. So that tells us that this firmware currently running on the Red Komodo 6K is in beta mode. So again, fingers crossed, very soon we will move from the beta mode to the original full 1.5.0 build. So if we go onto the main layout, nothing has changed. On the main user interface, everything is still where it is. If we tap on the stoplight logo, everything is still the same. The same with the waveform and metadata switches. And if you go onto the audio, there is where things looks different. Now the audio interface, the layout looks a lot more visible, a lot more bigger and easier to see. If we have a look at the input signal right here on the right, it's actually now filling the entire user interface. Entire screen is now being filled with the audio display. Previous to that, it was a lot smaller and a lot more harder to read. Talking about the audio, they have now included 4 channels, so you can control each channel separately, and then you can also link both the external and the internal microphones together. When you do that, you can also go ahead and monitor a specific channel. So either the internal or the external channel, you'll be able to monitor that. Now let's move on to what everyone is looking forward to, is the anamorphic mode. So if we go down to project settings, and if you are in R3D mode, right there and then when you go to format, you get now 3 options instead of just 1. So you've got a Super 35 6K, you've got Super 35 Anamorphic 6K. This is what we're talking about, and then you've got all formats. So previous firmware, we only had 1 line of settings, and that allows you to change the aspect ratio and resolution. So if you go into the Super 35 mode, you have only 6K aspect ratios in there, and if you come out and you go to the Super 35 anamorphic mode, that's when things becomes very interesting. Remember, this is 6K support anamorphic, so you're not going to be able to shoot 5K in anamorphic mode. If we come out of there, then you go at the bottom where you have all support. So there you have all the support in various aspect ratio, but the anamorphic ends in 6K 17:9 1.25 times squeeze. So that's the anamorphic features. If we go out of the project settings and we come back to the main menu, and then you scroll down to monitoring, there you have live stream option. So now live stream has been added in monitoring. So on the live stream, you can enable it, disable it, and choose the quality factor, high, medium, or low. However, again, not sure exactly what's going on there, how to use it. However, I will look into it, and if I do find how to operate or how to get the live stream on, I'll do a separate video on that. So if you aren't a subscriber, you are encouraged to subscribe so that you don't miss out on that video. So those are the main things on this particular build right now. So that's it, guys. These are the key features in this 1.5.0 build. Obviously, again, there are a lot of other features released on there, but these are the key that I want us to look at today. So I'll leave it here, and I will definitely look into the live stream feature on there, and hopefully that is something that is self-explanatory and will work very well on this camera. In regards to the autofocus, again, many of us are looking forward to that being improved. That has not been affected whatsoever. This is the beta of 1.5.0, so hopefully in the next build we would have a lot more features and a lot more perfection with this camera. So that's it. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you on the next one.